Hi everyone, Naomi from Inner Sense Holistic Therapies here. Today I'd like to talk to you about a daily practice you can try that's designed to help you manage worry and rumination, which can in turn help to reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Our attention plays a big part in determining how we feel. And unfortunately, when we're feeling anxious, that anxiety wants to pull our attention towards the threat, even if it's just a perceived threat, even if there's not actually any danger. If we think we're in danger, our anxiety pulls our attention towards the perceived danger. For example, if you're in a social situation, you might find your attention being diverted towards how you're being perceived by others. You might be really looking at their expressions, trying to notice how you're being perceived and how people are reacting to you. And that can lead you to feel self-conscious and anxious in a social situation. Or maybe you're finding that you're spending a lot of time focusing on the way that you're feeling in your body, noticing your heart rate or noticing different aches and pains that might be happening in your body. And that can lead us to feel very anxious about our health. Or perhaps you're someone who gets stuck in repetitive thought cycles about the past or about the future, leading you to feel very anxious or depressed. So if you can relate to any of that, then this attention training daily practice could really help you to start to break those cycles. Attention training isn't about stopping thoughts from happening. That's impossible. Different thoughts will always pop into our mind. But attention training can help us strengthen the ability to choose where our attention is focused, so that when those upsetting thoughts come into our mind, we can choose to focus elsewhere more easily. So how do we practice? Well, first of all, just see if you can imagine your attention a bit like a muscle, even though it's not, just if we can just see it in that way. So if you were wanting to strengthen a muscle in your body, you would be doing a regular workout or some regular strength training. And it's the same with the attention muscle. We need to do this regularly. So I would recommend doing this daily for around 3 to 5 minutes to begin with. So the first thing you need to do is pick out a mundane task that you do regularly, daily if possible. So it could be anything from having a shower, brushing your teeth, chopping vegetables, eating your meal, walking, doing housework. All of this stuff we tend to do without our attention focused on it because we're so used to doing it, we don't need to focus on it. But these are prime examples of when the mind wanders off and does whatever it wants to. So these are great opportunities to practice the attention training task. So just say, for example, you were going to use the shower as your attention training exercise. So you'd get yourself ready for the shower, turn the taps on, and for around 3 to 5 minutes of your shower, just try and practice being aware of where your attention is. So you're in the shower and you notice your mind's wandered off. As soon as you've noticed it's wandered off, bring it back to the present. Now you might be wondering, but how? How do I bring it back to the present? So there's 5 ways you can bring it back, and that's your 5 senses: sight, sound, touch, taste and smell. So once you've noticed your mind's wandered off, you bring it back to what you can see. Okay, right, well, I can see the water coming down, and I can see that there's light reflecting off the water. And I can see on my sponge, I've got bubbles on there, and I can see the light reflecting off those, and they're popping as I'm holding it in my hand. And I'm looking over there and I can see some shampoo bottles, and they've got black lids and pink liquid in, and reading the writing on it. So we're not just looking around, we're really tuning into the detail of what we can see in that moment. And whilst you're doing that, your mind will have probably wandered off again. So as soon as you notice, you bring it back to what you can hear. Right, okay, well, I can hear the water coming out and hitting the shower floor. And actually I can hear the boiler going as well. And I've got the window open, so I can hear a dog barking out there. And then it all have wandered again. So you bring it back to what you can feel. Right, well, I can feel the nice warm water hitting my back. And I can give my toes a wiggle. I can feel the weight of myself on the shower floor. and I can feel the sensation of rubbing the shampoo into my skin or hair. So it'll have wandered again, and you bring it back to what you can smell. So you pick up a nice bar of soap or a bottle of something, give it a nice whiff, and just tune into that sensation. The one sense I wouldn't recommend trying in the shower would be your taste. I know some of those shampoos smell good enough to eat, but I wouldn't recommend tasting them. But you might find when you're doing this that one of your senses is more dominant than the others and helps you stay present and grounded better than the others. If that's the case, you're free to just use that sense all the time if you like. Some of us are more visual, some of us are more auditory, so just use what works for you, but do give them all a go and see how you get on. So every time you come back to your senses, you're coming back to the present moment. So our senses are always an anchor to the present, and we can rely on them to help us feel present and grounded anytime, anywhere. It can start to feel frustrating, that wandering off and bringing it back. Try not to get frustrated or annoyed. Just know that every time it wanders off and you choose to bring it back, you're strengthening that ability to choose where your attention is. So that noticing it's gone and choosing to bring it back, the repetitiveness of that, noticing and refocusing, that is the lifting the weight in the gym. So that is the actual strength training. So although it might feel frustrating, it's actually helping every time that you do it. So the key takeaway here is to be kind and patient with yourself as you practice. Your mind is going to wander a lot, and that's normal. So be prepared for that. But just gently bring it back to the present every time you've noticed. So the goal here is not to do it perfectly. The goal here is just to start to notice. Just start to notice how much your mind is wandering and then choosing to bring it back. And if you practice this for just a few minutes a day, over time, you'll start to notice that you can hold your attention for longer, you can notice quicker when your mind's wandered off, and you should also start to notice that you're more focused in your everyday life, and that when upsetting thoughts or worries do come up, you're able to shift your attention away from them more easily. So let's recap. 1. Choose a daily, mundane task to practice with. 2. Notice where your attention is. 3. Deliberately bring your attention back to your senses. 4. Anytime your mind wanders, just gently bring it back to your senses. So I hope you found that helpful today. If you would like to learn more about CBT, well-being, nervous system regulation, massage or reflexology, feel free to like and follow the Inner Sense page. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.